In his new book, Australian music icon John Farnham makes unsettling allegations about his late former manager, claiming that he was covertly drugged for years in the early years of his career. Farnham discusses that abuse he endured at the hands of manager Daryl Sambell in the early years of his career, when he was a teen pop idol in the 1960s with singles like Sadie the Cleaning Lady, in fresh passages from his memoir, The Voice Inside, that were released by the Australian overnight. Sambell drugged me for years, and I had no *****ing idea, according to Farnham, until he one day found a half-dissolved pill in the bottom of his coffee cup. That's just something to keep you awake, Sambell responded to his customer when asked what it was. Additionally, Farnham claims that his manager, who was openly gay, was aggressively sexual with him and that he had to repeatedly push back his approaches. I stated it frequently enough that I can now see how this rejection transformed his attraction into resentment, jealousy, and a need for power. For many years, Sambell dominated where and when I worked, what I sang, what I wore, and what I ate. Farnham became isolated from friends and family, even his 1973 wife Jill. After Sambell was eventually fired by Farnham in 1976, he went on to establish one of the most fruitful collaborations in Australian music with Glenn Wheatley, a music manager who propelled his career to unprecedented heights in the 1980s and 1990s. In 2001, Sambell passed away. I feel so ashamed of myself for not realizing what Daryl was up to or speaking up more often to put him back in his place, Farnham writes in his new memoir, reflecting on his early career years with a mixture of sadness and shame. He acknowledged that until he was compelled to face it when writing his memoir, he had struggled to unpick what had occurred to him. However, now that I've faced it, I reflect on that period of time with sadness. He writes, I'm mad at myself for being so trusting and naive. This week marks the release of Farnham's book. Earlier this month, the music legend made a shocking announcement. More than 2 years after undergoing grueling surgery to remove a malignant tumor in his mouth, he will narrate the audiobook himself. Fans can hear one of Australia's most recognizable voices sounding a little different after receiving cancer treatment as he explains why it has taken him so long to write his memoirs in a tiny sample of the audiobook, which publisher Hachette Australia has already released. I really don't like talking about myself. I'm an egomaniac, don't get me wrong, but I've never been a big fan of digging up the past, Farnham admits. I've never really been that open, so it's difficult, but I'll try to share as much as I can. There must be explanations for that. The reasons behind my hesitation. Since declaring in August 2022 that he would have surgery right away upon his cancer diagnosis, Farnham has mostly avoided the spotlight. He had a 12-hour operation that same day to remove a tumor in his mouth, which involved reconstructing his jaw. He informed followers that he was cancer-free a year later, but he also disclosed that he had undergone numerous other surgeries since his initial surgery.